ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्टिकी। हरे कृष्णा. Today we try to understand shloka number 12 and 13 of chapter 12, birth of Emperor Parīkṣit, canto first. ततः सर्वगुण उदर्के
तथा सर्वगुण उदर्के
सा अनुकूल ग्रहोदये
सानुकूल ग्रहोदये
जज्ञे वंशधर पाण्डोः
जज्ञे वंशधरः पाण्डोः
भूयः पाण्डुः इव ओजसा
भूयः पाण्डु इव ओजसा
तस्य प्रीतमनः राजा
तस्य प्रीतमना राजा
विप्रैः धौम्य कृप आदिभिः
विप्रैः धौम्य कृपादिभिः
जातकं कारयाम आस
जातकं कारयामास
वाचयित्वा च मङ्गलम्।
वाचयित्वा च मङ्गलम्।
ततः सर्वगुण उदर्के
ततः सर्वगुण उदर्के
सानुकूल ग्रहोदये
सानुकूल ग्रहोदये
जज्ञे वंशधर पाण्डोः
जज्ञे वंशधरः पाण्डोः
भूयः पाण्डुः इव ओजसा
भूयः पाण्डु इव ओजसा
तस्य प्रीतमनः राजा
तस्य प्रीतमना राजा
विप्रैः धौम्य कृप आदिभिः
विप्रैः धौम्य कृपादिभिः
जातकं कारयाम आस
जातकं कारयामास
वाचयित्वा च मङ्गलम्।
वाचयित्वा च मङ्गलम्।
ततः सर्वगुण उदर्के सानुकूल ग्रहोदये जज्ञे वंशधर पाण्डोः भूयः पाण्डु इव ओजसा तस्य प्रीतमनः राजा विप्रैः धौम्य कृप आदिभिः जातकं कारयम् आस वाचयित्वा च मङ्गलम्। हरे
ततः
कृष्ण.
सर्वगुण उदर्के सानुकूल ग्रहोदये जज्ञे वंशधर पाण्डो भूयः पाण्डु इव ओजसा तस्य प्रीतमना राजा विप्रह धौम्य कृपा आदिभिः जातकं कारयामास वाचयित्वा च मंगलम। कृपा में सीता देवी माता जी प्लीज रीड।
हरे कृष्णा। ततः सर्वगुणो उदर्के सानु अनुकूल ग्रहोदये जाने वंशधरा पाण्डवो भूय पाण्डु पाण्डु इव्य ओजसा तस्य पितामह राजा विप्रे दानुमय कृपा आदिभिः जातकं कार्यम् आसा वाचयित्वा च मङ्गलम्। थैंक यू।
हरे कृष्ण. आशीष प्रभु जी.
तथा सर्वगुणोदर्के सानुकूल ग्रहोदये जज्ञे वंशधर पाण्डोर् भूय इव ओजसा तस्य प्रीतामना राजा विप्रं धौम्य कृपादिभिः जतकाम करयाम आसा वाचयित्वा च
पूनम
मंगलम।
माता जी.
हरे कृष्ण.
पूनम माता जी. हरे कृष्ण. Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thereupon, when all the good signs of the zodiac gradually evolved, the heir apparent of Pandu, who would be exactly like him in prowess, took birth. King Yudhiṣṭhira, who was very satisfied with the birth of Mahārāja Parīkṣit, had the purificatory process of birth performed. Lord brāhmaṇas headed by Dhaumya and Kṛpa recited auspicious hymns purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Astronomical calculations of stellar influences upon a living being are not suppositions but are factual as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. Every living being is controlled by the laws of nature at every minute, just as the citizen is controlled by the influence of the state. The state laws are grossly observed, but the laws of material nature, being subtle to our gross understanding, cannot be experienced grossly. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 3.9, every action of life products produces another reaction which is binding upon us. And only those who are acting on behalf of Yajña Viṣṇu are not bound by reactions. Our actions are judged by the higher authorities, agents of the Lord, and thus we are awarded bodies according to our activities. The laws of nature is so subtle that every part of our body is influenced by respective stars, and a living being obtains his working body to fill his terms of imprisonment by manipulation of such astronomical influence. A man's destiny is therefore ascertained by birth time constellation of stars, and a factual horoscope is made by learned astrologer. It is a great science, and misuse of a science does not make it useless. Mahārāja Parīkṣit or even the personality of Godhead appear in certain constellations of good stars, and thus influence exerted upon body, thus born at an auspicious moment. The most auspicious constellation of star takes place during the appearance of the Lord in this material world and is specifically called Jayanti, a word not to be abused for any other purposes. Mahārāja Parīkṣit was not only a great Kshatriya emperor, but also a great devotee of Lord. Thus, he cannot take his birth at any inauspicious moment. As a proper place, time is selected to receive a respectable personage, so also to receive such a personality as Mahārāja Parīkṣit, who was specially cared for by the Supreme Lord. A suitable moment is chosen when all good stars assemble together to exert their influence upon the. Thus, he took his birth just to be known as great hero of Srimad Bhagavatam. This suitable arrangement of astral influence is never a creation of man's will, but is arrangement of the superior management of the agency of the Supreme Lord. Of course, the arrangement is made according to the good or bad deeds of the living being. Herein lies the importance of pious acts performed by the living being. Only by pious acts can one be allowed to get good health, good wealth, good education, and beautiful features. The sanskaras of the school of Sanatana Dharma, man's eternal engagement, are highly suitable for creating an atmosphere for taking advantage of good stellar influence, and therefore Garbhadan Sanskara, or the first seedling purificatory process prescribed for the higher caste, is the beginning of all pious act to receive a good, pious, and intelligent class of men in human society. There will be peace and prosperity in the world due to good and sane population only. There is hell and disturbance only because of the unwanted insane populace addicted to sex indulgence. There is a need for a good and intelligent class of brāhmaṇas who are expert in performing the purificatory processes prescribed in the system of varnashram dharma. Unless such purificatory processes are performed, there is no possibility of goods population. And in the age of Kali, the population all over the world is of Shudra quality or lower for want of this purificatory process. It is not possible, however, to revive the Vedic process of purification in this age for want of proper facilities and good brāhmaṇas. But there is the Pancharatriki system also recommended for this age. The Pancharatriki system acts on the Sudra class of men. Supposedly, the population of the Kali Yuga, and it is the prescribed purificatory process suitable to age and time. Such a purificatory process is allowed only for spiritual upliftment and not for any other purpose. Spiritual upliftment is never conditioned by higher or lower parentage. After the Garbhadan purificatory process, there are certain other sanskaras like Simantanya, Sada, Bhakshanam, etc. during the period of pregnancy, and when the child is born, the first purificatory process is Jata Karma. This is performed by, duly by Mahārāja Parīkṣit Yudhiṣṭhira with the help of good and learned brāhmaṇas like Dhaumya, the royal priest, and Kṛpacharya, who was not only a priest but also a great general. Both these learned and perfect priests, assisted by other good brāhmaṇas, were employed by Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira to perform the ceremony. Therefore, all the sanskaras, purificatory processes are not mere formalities or social functions only, but they are all for practical purposes and can be successfully performed by expert brāhmaṇas like Dhaumya and Kṛpacharya. Such brāhmaṇas are not only rare but also not available in this age, and therefore, for the purpose of spiritual upliftment in this fallen age, the Goswamis refer the purificatory process under Pancharatrika formulas to the Vedic rites. Kṛpacharya is the son of the great Rishi Sardarbhan and was born in the family of Gautama. The birth is said to be accidental. By chance, the great Rishi Sardarbhan met Janpadi, a famous society girl of heaven, and the Rishi Sardarbhan discharged semen in two parts. By one part, immediately a male child, and by other part, a female child were born as twins. The male child was later on known as Kṛpa, and the female child was known as Kṛpi. Maharaj Shantanu, while engaged in chase in the jungle, picked up the children and brought them up to the Brahminical status by the proper purificatory process. Kṛpacharya later became a great general like Dronacharya, and his sister was married to Dronacharya. Kṛpacharya later on took part in the battle of Kurukshetra and joined the party of Duryodhana. Kṛpacharya helped kill Abhimanyu, the father of Mahārāja Parīkṣit, but he was still held in esteem by the family of the Pandavas due to his being a great Brahmana as Dronacharya. When the Pandavas were sent to the forest after being defeated in the gambling game with Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra entrusted the Pandavas to Kṛpacharya for guidance. After the end of the battle, Kṛpacharya again became a member of the royal assembly, and he was called during the birth of Mahārāja Parīkṣit for recitation of auspicious Vedic hymn to make the ceremony successful. Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira, while quitting the palace for his great departure to the Himalayas, entrusted Kṛpacharya with Mahārāja Parīkṣit as his disciple, and he left home satisfied because of Kṛpacharya as taking charge of Mahārāja Parīkṣit. The great administrator, kings and emperors were always under the guidance of learned brāhmanas like Kṛpacharya, and thus were able to act properly in the discharge of political responsibilities. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guroho Sri Tapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavacha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakānvitancha Namo Om Viṣṇu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhecha Krupa Sindhubhe Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Today we try to understand shloka number 13. Here describing about the how the Parīkṣit Maharaj at the time of birth, how the sanskaras took place, and Kṛpācārya, Dhaumya, and all other brāhmaṇas recited the hymns, and then how the Kṛpācārya, who is the father of Kṛpācārya and who is the mother of Kṛpācārya, all points are described in these shlokas. Prabhuji will tell us in detail. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, as soon as Mahārāja Parīkṣit was saved and Krishna disappeared from his vision, he was wondering about Krishna. And in that wonderance, what happened was the zodiac signs, they rearranged gradually to a significantly good level. And that is the time when Mahārāja Parīkṣit took birth. And he was someone who was exactly like Pandu in prowess. So Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj was very satisfied with the birth of Mahārāja Parīkṣit. And so, as is the custom, as is the ritual, he performed all the purificatory processes. And it was done by all the learned brāhmaṇas, headed by Dhaumya and Kṛpa, who recited all the auspicious hymns. So practically what happens is every living being, every jiva is controlled by the laws of nature. Every moment. Prabhupada says every minute, but actually every moment we are controlled by the laws of nature. And it is something like we being controlled by the laws of the government. And this is something which Krishna had told in Bhagavad Gita also. How do we overcome? In 3rd canto 9th shloka, Krishna says, Yajña arthat karmanah anya atra loko ayam karma bandhanah tad artham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. So work done as sacrifice for Viṣṇu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kuntī, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way, you'll always remain free from bondage. So every action of life actually produces another reaction, which is binding upon us. And only those who are acting on behalf of Viṣṇu, the Yajña Purush, they are not bound by reactions. So it is not that Newton has found this third law of motion. Every action has equal and opposite reaction. This is something which Krishna has propagated right from so many millions of years ago. Because our actions are judged by the higher authorities, who are the agents nominated by the Lord. And we get awarded different bodies according to our activities. So this law of nature is very subtle. Every part of our body, it gets influenced by the respective stars. And then a jiva obtains his working body to fulfill his terms of imprisonment by manipulation of such astronomical influence. So when it is decided that we have to get the karma phala, the astronomical zodiac signs are created in such a way that we get relieved, we get birth on such and such occasion so that we can face the consequences of our past karmas. So while Varnashrama system or institution aims at satisfying Lord Viṣṇu, if someone forgets, then he has to forbid. Varnashrama acharavata purushena parah puman Viṣṇuhu aradhyate. So man's destiny is therefore ascertained by the birth time constellation of stars. And according to that, a factual horoscope can be made by a learned astrologer. So it is a great science. It is not something hypothetical. And this is now even learned by the machines. So machine learning has also gone in place on this Vedic science, the astrological science. So Mahārāja Parīkṣit, or say even personality of Godhead, when he appears, there is constellation of good stars. And so the influence is exerted upon the body thus born at an auspicious moment. So the most auspicious constellation takes place when the Lord is appearing, and that is specifically called as Jayanti. Prabhupada ji says Jayanti as a word should not be used for anyone else other than Krishna. So when according to our karma, everything is finalized at proper place, time, that is selected by Krishna, and then the respectable personage is received. And the example of that is Mahārāja Parīkṣit, because he was especially cared for by Lord Krishna. And so a suitable moment was chosen when all good stars assembled together to exert their influence upon Parīkṣit. So the suitable arrangement of astral influence, that is not something which can be created by humans by our will. This is something which is an arrangement of Supreme Lord, the superior management of the agency which is deployed by the Lord. So this arrangement is made according to the good or bad deeds. Only by pious activities we can be allowed to get good wealth, good education, beautiful futures. And by impious activities, we will continue to forbid to all that is good. So sanskaras, which are mentioned in the Sanatana Dharma, Sanatana Dharma means man's eternal engagement. They are very suitable by which an atmosphere can be created wherein we can take advantage of good stellar influence. And this all starts right from the Garbhadhan Sanskar, which is also the first seeding purificatory process, which initially used to be described or prescribed for the higher castes. And this is the beginning of all pious activities, to receive good, pious, intelligent baby. So Prabhupada ji says that there can be peace and prosperity due to good and sane people, while there is currently hell and disturbance because of unwanted insane population which has been created bereft of the Sanskara ceremonies. There is urgent need for good, intelligent brāhmaṇas who are expert in performing the purificatory processes which are prescribed in the Varnashrama Dharma. Because unless such processes are performed, there is no possibility of good population. And in Kali Yuga, that is the reason that all population all over the world is of Shudra quality because of absence of the Sanskara ceremonies. Now, Pancharatrika system, that is something which is recommended even on the Shudra class of men, because it is a purificatory process suitable to age and time that we are currently. And the objective of that is spiritual upliftment. It's not for any other purpose. And spiritual upliftment is not something which is conditioned by, say, a higher class family or a lower class family. So after Garbhadhan Sanskar, there are other sanskaras like we have the Punshavana, so wherein we can make a request for a male child or a safe birth. Then there is Jatak ceremony, the birth ceremony. Simantanayan, Sadhabakshanam, Namkaran, so for naming of the child. Nishikraman, wherein the child is going out of the home for the first time. Annaprashan, wherein the child is fed first solid food. Then we have the Chundakaran, the first haircut. Kamaved, wherein the earlobes are pierced. Upanayan, wherein there is initiation into the school. Then there's also Vidyarambha, the beginning of formal education, Vivah Sanskar, wedding, Antyeshti, funeral, Vanaprastha Sanskar, wherein we retire from the worldly life. So all these sanskaras are mentioned, and they have to be performed by learned and perfect priests. So in case of Parīkṣit Maharaj, Dhaumya, who was the royal priest, and Kṛpācārya, both of them, assisted by the other brāhmaṇas, they did this ceremony under instructions of Mahārāja Parīkṣit. So even the Goswamis, for the spiritual upliftment of spiritual persons, even the Goswamis have said that purificatory processes under Pancharatrika formula to the Vedic rites should be performed. So that is the importance of the Sanskara ceremonies. And even in ISKCON, we find that these ceremonies are performed very rightly, appropriately, as per the need and place in the various temples. And here we saw that even Kṛpācārya was one of the persons who was doing this Jataka ceremony for Parīkṣit Maharaj. So we all know about Kṛpācārya, that how his father Rishi Sardban, he had met Janpati, and then all of a sudden he discharged semen. So one part of the semen became a male child, the other the female, so Kṛpa and Kripi. So Maharaj Shantanu, he found both the children, he picked them up, brought them to Brahmanical status by the various sanskaras. Kṛpācārya became a great general like Dronacharya and married his sister Kripi to Dronacharya. So we all know that he participated in Kurukshetra on the side of Duryodhana, and he was the one who created the Chakravyuh in which Abhimanyu was killed, who was father of Parīkṣit Maharaj. But still, being a great Brahmana, he was still held in esteem. And so when the war was over, he was again nominated as a member of the Royal Assembly. And that is how when Mahārāja Parīkṣit, various ceremonies were happening, he was called for recitation of the hymns. So what is indirectly being said is, once you are a devotee and you are performing your duties for Krishna under instructions of Krishna for his satisfaction, Krishna takes care of you. And Maharaj Yudhiṣṭhira, while quitting the palace, when he left for the Himalayas, he entrusted Mahārāja Parīkṣit as disciple to Kṛpācārya, because he knew that he was a great Brahmana, learned Brahmana, and he will ensure that Parīkṣit is able to act properly in discharge of political responsibilities. So that is important. Devotees of Krishna were very learned, and that is why these evening sessions of Bhagavatam, studying of the Bhagavatam regularly, is very, very important. And along with that, we need to ensure that we practice the sadhana very strongly. We work on our chanting, we work on our scriptural knowledge, we work on our association with the devotees, and we get involved into the deity worships wherever possible. Thank you very much.